The nurse's faint chatter could be heard down the hall as preparations began for the night shift. I looked over at my 8-year-old son lying on the bed and was overwhelmed with sadness knowing the battle going on inside of him. "Evening, Luke," said the night nurse as she came in with his tray of medications. "What are you watching tonight?" Luke was quiet, feeling tired and overwhelmed by what was coming next as the nurse began to prepare his medication. "Star Wars again tonight it is. The battle is never ending," I jested, something which we as a family could relate to. "Mom, I don't want to do this. It hurts. I want to go home," Luke pleaded tearfully. Home was a happy place for Luke, filled with friends, football, and lots of laughter. "I know, my Lukey. You are so incredibly brave, just like Luke Skywalker. You can do this," I encouraged him. Soon the beeps of the machines were drowned out by the march of stormtroopers, boots, and the buzz of the Jedi's lightsaber. Luke was fighting his own enemy, the resistant bacteria Burkholderia cepacia, or BC for short. It colonized his lungs, already burdened with cystic fibrosis. The hospital stays were frequent and long. This resistant bacteria had established a home deep inside Luke's lungs. This bug seemed outer-worldly with an intelligence that outsmarted every antibiotic we tried. The fight, both physically and mentally, intensified. The treatment was ramped up. Luke, like the Star Wars namesake, was also fighting for good over evil. His Darth Vader was BC. "Unfortunately, the bug is not shifting, Juliet. It's been a year and it's still there," the doctor shared. I was openly emotional. "We strongly recommend we keep trying various combinations of antibiotics," he said. "And then what?" I said despairingly. "What do we do then, when it doesn't work either? How long do you keep fighting?" BC wedged itself deeper into Luke's lungs and deeper into our family. His body became a battleground attached to IV machines as different antibiotics were pumped into his body. Hopes rose only to be dashed. A dark force, BC thrived and defeated every combination of antibiotics thrown at it. Still failing to respond 2.5 years later, we sat again with the consultant. "We need to discuss next steps," he said. We felt defeated. His young life was filled with continued mechanical beeps, finger pricks, isolation rooms, prodding, anesthetics, blood, pain, fear, and frustration. He felt under attack, not only with BC, but by those who were trying to save him. He had lost track of who was now the enemy. "We need to stop," I said, "as I'm losing my son. He isn't coping with the intensive treatment. He needs to breathe. Our family needs to breathe." The doctor heard me. The treatment can only be that which the patient can manage. The intensive antibiotics had made little difference. Together we decided to de-intensify the treatment. "I'm prepared to take that risk," I stressed. "We need to be home more, to have some normality." Luke needed to enjoy his now 10-year-old life again, if only for a time. Whilst the enemy hadn't been beaten just yet, we felt as if we had won. Burkholderia cepacia, like all resistant bacteria, is a fearful and devious opponent. 3.5 years later, my CF warrior now has the all clear and no longer colonizes Burkholderia cepacia. Now we spend fewer weeks in hospital and many more snuggled up on the sofa at home watching Star Wars, of course. Though we know BC can strike again at any time, we live for now, understanding resistant bugs are all around us, and we remain ever waiting.